Hello, ladies and gentlemen, host Austin, this beautiful, beautiful Wednesday. Let's get into today's video. So, guys, here are my Week 12 picks and predictions for college football. We'll start with 2 Friday night games and move on to the Saturday game. So, that being said, guys, let's get into today's video. So, guys, we'll start at 7:30 on ESPN. It'll be the Clemson Tigers going on. They're playing the 20th ranked Louisville Cardinals. Louisville, they're coming off a home loss, overtime loss against California. And it's not a bad loss because California, I know they're unranked, but California is, I think, a good team, actually. They're actually good. They're just good. In my opinion. California is not a bad team. That win got them eligible, so good win for California. And Louisville didn't play bad either. Louisville, I think, played good. It was just California, I guess, wanted it more, and that's what it came down to. California got the game-winning touchdown. Louisville didn't. So not a bad loss to Louisville. I think Louisville's still a good team. Just California clutched more when they needed. Clemson, yes. Clemson, I know they're coming off a big home win at home against Florida State. But let's be honest, I don't think Clemson's that good. I don't know why Louisville's only 3.5 point favorites. I think Louisville beats Clemson pretty easily, 30-16. Give me Louisville to win by 14. Let's move on to our next Friday night game. So at 9 p.m. on Fox, we have the Minnesota Gophers taking on the 8th ranked Oregon Ducks. Oregon coming off a nice win on the road against, I think, a good Iowa team. Dante Moore throws a great pass. Next thing you know, they're in field goal range. They kick the game-winning field goal to win 18-16. After Iowa scored a touchdown with like a minute left, Oregon gets a nice drive down the field. And Minnesota, I'm honestly Minnesota, I think they're coming off a bye. But Minnesota feels like they're like one of the most fraudulent teams in all of college football because it feels like Minnesota, they're 6-3. Their record says they're really good. The 6-3 record is usually good, but they're not actually good, guys. Minnesota's like one of the most fraudulent teams in all of college football because what they did against Ohio State, they lost like 42-3 to Ohio State, and they got destroyed by Iowa. So Minnesota is not a good team. Don't think that for a second. Oregon destroys Minnesota 40-15. Not even close. Ducks win easily. Anyway, moving on to the Saturday game. So we have at noon Eastern on the Big Ten Network. We have the 3-6 Wisconsin Badgers taking on the second-ranked 10-0 Indiana Hoosiers. Wisconsin's coming off a nice win at home against Washington. Really terrible game, though. Really, in my opinion. But Wisconsin gets the time. They get the win when they needed it, and they get the win. I think a good Washington team. Washington's a good team. But nice win for Wisconsin at home. Low-scoring game. Still have a terrible offense. Anyway, for Indiana, they had a great drive to win a game against a bad Penn State team on the road. So good win for Indiana, even though maybe there's some question marks there. But Indiana still, too, they didn't go down. Like, some people thought they were going to go down because they barely beat a bad Penn State team. But Penn State still has some talents. I get it. But not the best performance against Indiana. But they get the touchdown when they need it. So give credit to Indiana where it's due. I think Indiana easily bounces back. They win. I think they crush Wisconsin. I say like 40-13. Not even close. Indiana destroys Wisconsin there. Anyway, noon Eastern on ESPN. We'll have the 3-6 South Carolina Gamecocks going on there to play the third-ranked Texas A&M Aggies, who are also 9-0 undefeated still. So, guys, A&M 19.5 point favorites in that one. A&M, this game will be close. South Carolina is not a terrible team. I don't think they say they're 3-6 and say they're terrible. They're not awful. They're not bad. Not good or anything. But South Carolina is one of those, I think, okay teams, and they can compete against A&M. I will pick A&M to win this game. I'm not that dumb. A&M will win this game probably like 27-16. It's a close game. It really is. I think it's a close game early, but then A&M kind of pulls away late. So give me Texas A&M to beat South Carolina. So I like the A&M. Next game, New Eastern on ABC. Well, the 9th-ranked Notre Dame Fighting Irish going on there to play the 22-ranked Pittsburgh Panthers. Notre Dame 12.5 point favorites on the road. Notre Dame, they're coming off a dominant win against Navy. So good win by Notre Dame. It was close in the first half a little bit, but Notre Dame just dominated in the second half. So good win for Notre Dame. Pittsburgh, Pitt. I believe they're coming off a bye. Pitt's a good team. This is actually college game day game of the week, and Notre Dame's 12.5 point favorite. I think that's way too high. I think this is more of a low-scoring game. I like Notre Dame to win like 23-16. It's a closer game than most people realize. Pitt covers the spread. I like Notre Dame to win this game by around 8 points. I like the Irish, though, to get the win. I think Notre Dame is a better team. But I think the 12.5 is a little too high. Coming up at noon Eastern on Fox, we'll have the 18th-ranked Michigan Wolverines going on there, played against the 5-4 Northwestern Wildcats. I believe this game's in Chicago at Ridley Field or something like that. Michigan's 11.5 point favorites on the road. Michigan's coming off a bye, and Northwestern's coming off. They competed against USC for a little bit in that first half, but USC just dominated in the fourth quarter, really. So good win by USC. Northwestern, they're not terrible. They're not great or good. They're kind of average. And Michigan's going to have a bye. Michigan, I I think Michigan gets the win here. They win a close one, like 20-6. Actually, it's going to be like 20-15. Low scoring game. Michigan gets the win, though, on the road. Even though that game's kind of not even at their home stadium. But anyway, moving on to the next noon game at noon Eastern on ESPN2. We have 24-ranked USF taking on Navy. USF's coming off a dominant win at home against an average UTSA team. UTSA's not bad. Dominant win, though, by USF at home. Now they have to play against a really fraudulent Navy team. Navy, back-to-back losses at North Texas and a blowout loss at Notre Dame. They competed, though, kind of in the first half against Notre Dame, but Notre Dame's just too good. In the second half, they outplayed them. Not surprisers there. USF has to go on the road, though. I think USF dominates this game. They're 9.5. I think they cover. I think USF's going to destroy Navy. It's going to be, I think, bad. Like 38. I say 38-20. Navy's just not a good team. They're really not. They're average. USF gets the win. And noon Eastern on FS1 will be the Arizona Wildcats, who are 6-3, taking on the 24th-ranked Cincinnati Bearcats. Cincinnati's 6.5-point favorites. I believe Cincinnati's coming off a bye. And then Arizona is one of those. I think the Arizona, they're coming off of who they beat last. I forgot Arizona played. But anyway, guys, Arizona's not a bad team. They're actually, I think, kind of good. They're 6-3. They're one of those quiet, sneaky 6-3 teams. Cincinnati should win this game. They're coming off a bye, I believe. Cincinnati, the last time they played in the field, they get absolutely destroyed by Utah. I don't know what happened. They just got destroyed. I think Cincinnati bounces back, ranked in the top 25 now. They get the win over Arizona. Cincinnati wins a close one. I say 27-20. Cincinnati gets a game-winning touchdown late to beat Arizona. So give me Cincinnati in that one to bounce back. Give me the Bearcats. At 3:30 on ABC, we'll have the 11th-ranked Oklahoma Sooners taking on the 4th-ranked Alabama Crimson Tide. I'm pretty high on Alabama. I think they have like one of the best resumes in the country. And they take on against, I think, a good Oklahoma team. Honestly, guys, I kind of wrote off Oklahoma after they lost to Ole Miss at home. But Oklahoma is still in the chance. Right now, they're actually in the current bracket. So Oklahoma's not done. But I think Alabama eliminates them. I think Alabama's going to win a close one. I think it's close. I think Alabama wins like 34. I say 34-27. It's a touchdown game. Alabama gets a late touchdown to win at home. I like the Tide. Give me roll Tide in this one. They get the win over the Sooners. I like Alabama over Oklahoma. At 3:30 on Fox, we'll have the UCF Knights taking on the 6th-ranked Texas Tech Red Raiders. UCF's a bad team, man. I think they're coming off a bye. Actually, no, they're not coming off a bye. They're coming off I forgot. No, they lost to Houston at home. Yeah, I remember they lost to. It was a close. They had a close loss to Houston. Good effort by UCF, but it just didn't work out, and they lose to Houston. Texas Tech, though, Tech's coming off a nice win against BYU. Good win for Texas Tech. Their defense played great against BYU. BYU can do anything on offense, and their offense wasn't awesome too. It was kind of sluggish, kind of a low scoring game, but Texas Tech controlled most of that game, and they get the easy win against BYU. And Texas Tech, I think they continue to roll. They're 23.5-point favorites. I think they dominate this game. It's not going to be close. I think Texas Tech wins 30-6. UCF's just not a good team. They've been more. I guess you could say they've been more competitive, but I think Texas Tech's better. They win easily, like 30-6. I like Texas Tech. At 3:30 on ESPN, we have NC State taking on 15th-ranked Miami. Miami coming off a win. Miami coming off a nice win against a bad Syracuse team. Dominant win. NC State believe they are coming off a bye. And NC State, before the bye, they had a great win at home against a good Georgia Tech team. So NC State, they're like one of those teams that are just good, but they're not like great or anything. NC State and Cal, I think, are kind of similar in that position. I think Miami will win this game. I just can't pick NC State. I think it actually wouldn't surprise that NC State did win this game, but I like Miami. I think Miami wins. It's gonna be a close game. I say Miami wins like 30. I say 35-21. I think it's a 14-point game. Miami is actually 14.5-point favorites. I think it's around that. Miami wins 35-21 at home. Moving on to our next game. At 3:30 on the ACC Network, Georgia Tech, 16th ranked in the country, plays against 1-9 Boston College. Georgia Tech, they're coming off a bye week. I believe also is Boston College. I forgot who Boston College played last week. But Boston College is not good. They're not a good football team. I think Georgia Tech dominates. They win. I say Georgia. I mean, Boston College has been a little more competitive in these recent games. They had a close game against Notre Dame. I forgot who they played last week, but I think they were competitive. I forgot who Boston College played last week, but they were kind of competitive against Notre Dame. But I think Georgia Tech wins this game. I think it's gonna be like 26-10. Georgia Tech's just better. They get the win. They get a bounce back after the loss to NC State 2 weeks ago. At 3:30 on the Big Ten Network, we'll have the 20th ranked Iowa. Why is this game on the Big Ten Network? That has to be wrong, right? There's no way this game's actually on the Big Ten Network. That's what ESPN's telling me. No way. That gives a top why. Anyway, besides that, Iowa, 21 ranked in the country, goes on to play USC. USC 6.5-point favorites. Iowa, they had a heartbreaking loss against Oregon last week. The game they probably could have won. I think Iowa's a solid team. You know what, guys? I know USC's coming off a dominant win. I mean, not dominant, but they're coming off a good win against the average Northwestern team. I'm picking the upset today. I like Iowa to win this game outright. They win the game. I think it's going to be a low-scoring, I say 16-13 low-scoring game in the Coliseum. I like Iowa to go on the road. Give me Iowa to win this game. Upset alert. Iowa beats USC. That's my upset of the week. Give me Iowa to win that game. Moving on. At 3:30 on ESPN2, we'll have 19-ranked Virginia going on the road to play Duke. Virginia, they're coming off. They had no offense, though, at home against Wake. I heard Wake Forest get 40 yards in that game on offense, and they won. That was a bad game by Virginia. I think their quarterback also got injured in that game. Just a messy game for Virginia. And they play against a Duke team. Duke, I think they're okay. They're like an average, decent team. They're coming off a heartbreaking loss at UConn. UConn's actually not that bad this year, which is usually UConn's actually awful. But UConn's not bad this year. Duke's coming off a loss on them on the road. Duke's actually favored in this game, 4.5-point favorites. I'm going to pick Virginia, but I'm not that confident. Virginia just did an awful offensive performance last week. I will pick Virginia to win a low-scoring one. I say 15-12 at Duke. I know. I'm picking Virginia, but I'm not. It wouldn't surprise me at all if Duke won this game. But give me Virginia on the road. At 4:15 on the SEC Network, we'll have 3-6 New Mexico State take on 23rd ranked Tennessee. Tennessee, believe they're kind of a bye, but the game before they got eliminated when they lost to Oklahoma at home at night. Not a good performance. Tennessee, this game doesn't really matter, but Tennessee should blow them out. Tennessee's 41.5-point favorites. They destroyed New Mexico State. I say Tennessee wins this game 40. It's going to be a high-scoring game, for Tennessee. I say Tennessee wins 45. Yeah, 45-13. 45-13 is about right. Tennessee destroys New Mexico State. No, New Mexico State's terrible. Tennessee destroys them. Anyway, moving on to our 7 o'clock games. It's 7 on the ESPN. We'll have 3-6 Florida taking on 7th-ranked Ole Miss. Ole Miss 14.5-point favorites. Florida. What happened last week? You guys just got blown out to a thing. I don't think a good Kentucky team. Kentucky's played a little better, but just not, Kentucky's not good. And you get absolutely destroyed by them. And you compete against Georgia, though. But Florida's not a good team. They're just not a good team. Ole Miss, they're coming off a nice blowout win, a shutout win against the Citadels. Ole Miss destroyed. I think they easily cover, though. Ole Miss should destroy Florida. I'm predicting a 30. I say 37-14. Florida wins 37-14. They destroy Florida. It's not even close. At 7 on ESPN, we'll have 13 ranked Utah playing against an okay Baylor team at 7:30. At 7 on ESPN2. Utah should win this game. They're coming off a bye, but before they just blew out Cincinnati. It was a great win for Utah. And Baylor, I believe, before the bye, they had a win against UCF. So Baylor's one of those teams. Excuse me. Baylor is one of those teams who are not terrible. Actually, Baylor is not a bad team, but Utah should win. It's one of those. I gotta pick Utah. They're gonna win this game easily. I like Utah to win. I say 24-16. It's a low-scoring game, but Utah at 7 on ESPN2, they get the win at Baylor. Baylor's not bad, though. So, if Baylor would have, Utah wins. But if Baylor won this game, it would not completely surprise me, though. Just saying. Anyway, let's move on to our next game. At 7:30 on NBC, we have UCLA taking on number 1 ranked Ohio State. Ohio State, 32.5-point favorites at home against UCLA. UCLA, they've lost some momentum. They've really lost some momentum. Really, not gonna lie to you guys. They had that before the bye week, they played at Indiana. They got absolutely destroyed by Indiana. Had a bye week, and then they come back out last Saturday and just got absolutely not destroyed, but they lost a heartbreaker at home against Nebraska. UCLA has lost some momentum, and Ohio State, they're coming out. I believe they're Ohio State. They're coming out for win. I forgot who Ohio State. Who they win? Who they play last week? Hold up. I forgot who Ohio State played last week. What's wrong with me? Sorry, folks. Ohio State, I know they're coming off a win against Purdue. Yeah, they're coming off a win against Purdue. That's my bad. Sorry, guys. I forgot who Ohio State played for a minute. But they're coming off a nice win against Purdue. It was a little of a low-scoring game. They do get the win, though. And Ohio State, I think they dominate this game. Against UCLA, they win easily. I say Ohio State wins 42. They win 42-12. No surprises there. This game's at 7:30 on NBC. Sorry, I forgot who they played. They played Purdue. Purdue's not good. It's kind of a low-scoring game, checking the score. Really low-scoring game. Anyway, at 7:30 on ABC, we'll have the 10th-ranked Texas Longhorns playing the number 5-ranked Georgia Bulldogs. People might go after me on this one. I'm still not that high on Texas. I know Texas, before the bye week, they got a nice win against Vanderbilt. And Arch Manning played a lot better. But honestly, I think Georgia steamrolls Texas in this. I think this is a game Texas finally gets exposed. I like Georgia to dominate this game at night, at home. I like Georgia easily in this one. Give me Georgia destroying Texas. Georgia wins 34-17. I like Georgia win by 15. They're 5.5-point favorites. Give me Georgia easily covering that one. Give me Georgia over Texas. The last game we're predicting before this video ends will be the TCU home Frogs taking on the 12th-ranked BYU Cougars. BYU 4.5-point favorites in this game. They're coming off a terrible loss at Texas Tech. They had no offense in that game. Terrible loss to Texas Tech. And then TCU's coming off road loss to Iowa State. And TCU's actually not a bad team. They're kind of good. TCU's like one of those quiet, unranked good teams, like Cal, Cal, and I forgot the other team. But anyway, TCU, they're 6-3. I think they go on the road. I think they compete with BYU, but I like BYU. I think BYU gets a bounce back. Give me BYU to win this game. I say it's a close one though. It's like I say it's like 26-23. I think it's a low scoring game. I like BYU to get a nice bounce back at home against TCU at 10:15 on ESPN. I like BYU. So anyway, guys, let's continue today's video. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Have a great Wednesday. Sorry, I messed up Ohio State a little bit, but apologies. Hope you forgive me for that. Anyway, have a great night. Peace out.